So Google Forms are used to create web-based surveys, and there are a variety of themes which are already available, which are easy to adapt. Or you could start with a new form if you don't want to choose from a template, right? So to go to the Google Forms, the link is mentioned below the video. Okay, you can select the personal Google Forms and then log in with your Gmail account, and then you will be able to see the Google Forms window. So let me just open my Google Forms. So once you sign in, this is what you will see in your Google Forms, right? So here we have a template gallery. So if you expand this, you'll see that there are personal forms. Okay, then there are forms for work, different job application, order form, event feedback, then work request, customer feedback, then education forms, right? So there are different templates which are there. So either you could choose one of the templates or you could create a blank one. So let's start with a blank one. Okay, so I'll take a blank form by clicking this plus sign here, and an untitled form will open up. Okay, so this is the first page when you create a blank form. Now here you could type a name, for example, form to fetch customer data. Okay, so you can give it a heading, and you could also give a form description, for example, product A customers, something like that. Now here you can define a question, for example, what is your name, right? So right, this can be a question. Okay, and then it would come with a short answer text by default, but you could also change it to a paragraph. So if you want a longer answer, like based on the question, you could also select a paragraph. For this case, since it's a name, short answer is fine. Okay, so short answer comes up, and here you could also select whether it's a mandatory field or not. So if it's a mandatory field, just move this required to the right side. So now then it becomes a mandatory input, right? Now you can click on this next button to add another question. So for example, how was your last experience of the product, right? With our product. Okay, so that's another question. Now here you see we get a linear scale by default, so he can rate it from 1 to 5, or we could give a paragraph so that a person can write a long answer, and we make it also as required. Now we can type another type of question, like we can ask multiple choice questions, check boxes, we can provide drop downs. So there are different things which we can do here. We can put date and time fields here. So different ways we could customize this Google form. Also, if you see on the right side, we can import the questions from another existing forms. If we have, we can add title descriptions, we can add images here, we can add videos here, okay, and we can add next or more sections. Okay, so that's how you can play around with the form, add whatever is required, and make the form. So that's the first step. Now if you want to see how this will look like, we can click on this button which says preview, and this is the preview of the form, right? So we got our heading, okay, and all the fields marked with star are required. So these two are required, and the third one we actually did not do it. So let's keep it like this. Okay, so I can type in my name, right? I can give a comment here and then click on submit. So once you submit, you will also get an option to submit another response. Okay, so you could do that again. Or if we go back here, then we can see in the responses window that we have received one response. So the person who has created the form or sent the form can see these responses, and you can get these responses recorded here, right? So let me just remove this option thing. Okay, so we have two questions now. Next, let's see the customize theme here. So if we click on this, we could choose different themes. Okay, so we can make it green, we can make it red, orange, and we can select different colors. We can select font styles. So there are various theme options which are available. Also, what you could do is you could some add-ons, like for example Certify is for certification. Okay, so there are some add-ons which are available on the internet. You could bring them to the forms. Let's now see the settings. So if you go to the settings, then on the journal tab you can check mark to collect the emails. Okay, and also click on the response receipts. Okay, also what you could do is you could ask the user to sign in and limit the responses to one. So when we saw that button which says submit another response, it will not come if you limit it to one response. Okay, also there are options where the respondents can edit after submit or see the summary of charts and text responses, right? Then also what you can do is you can show the progress bar or the shuffle the questions order or show link to submit another response or not. So you can uncheck this. And once you are done with the form, you could also define a custom confirmation message, right? So there are various settings that we can do here. Now let's see how we can share this form. So if you click on the send button here, you can send the button via email, type a subject, and then I invite you to fill the form, right? You can send a link, and you can also shorten the URL to send the link, right? Also, you can embed this in HTML. Okay, so these can be put on websites directly using the HTML codes, right? So these are all the options that are available in the Google Forms. Okay, you can make your own customized forms and you can use them for your work, and all the data that is collected in the Google form is stored online, and the person who has created the form can go to the responses field and check all the summary of the responses, right? So let's go back to the presentation and see what is the next thing. Then we come to creating a quiz using Google form. So when we were going through the templates, under the education area, we found a blank quiz. So you could click on that and generate a blank quiz from there. Or once you have created the questions, then if you go to this gear icon and in the settings click on quizzes, then you can make this a quiz. So these are the settings that we need to make it a quiz. So let's try this out. So we'll go to the gear icon, and the third option here under the settings is quizzes, and I'll select make this a quiz. Okay, now in the quiz options we can keep this check marked, which is immediately after each submission, so that the people can see the responses. Okay, and respondent can also see missed questions, correct answers, and point values. So this can also be done, so that once you do that, you will get a kind of a result. And this is the quiz option that I have used in my daily quizzes. Okay, and made the quiz. Okay, so I'll save it. Okay, now when you do it as a quiz, then you also have to define an answer key, right? So now this answer key button appears as you have defined it as a quiz. So in the answer key, it will say what is the correct answer. Okay, so I have to add a correct answer here. Let's say I add my name here. Okay, so if a user types this, then he gets the points for it. Okay, how was the experience? So I'll go to the answer key here, and here add answer feedback. I'll add good, click on save. Okay, and that's how it is done, and I give 1 point to this. Okay, and click on done, right? So now I again go to the preview. So what is your name? I'll type my name. I'll type here very good. Okay, and submit it, right? So now you see that I get a button for view score. So when I click my score, what is your name? That is correct because it matches what I wrote in the answer feedback. And how was the last experience? I wrote very good, but the answer should have been good, right? So that way you will get the correct answer. Okay, and that is the way how we create quizzes inside the Google Forms.